Hello again, Akko here. Welcome back to my Feed the Beast Monster Guide, Beginner's Guide. Now, a couple of things to tell you about before we get started. One, you can see things look a bit different. I have added a modded resource pack. If you come down here into your options, you've got resource packs. I was using just Faithful 32 for vanilla. There is now a one that's being patched for a lot of the mods that are in Feed the Beast 1.6.4 Feed the Beast mod packs, so I'm using that one. There will be a link to that in my video description. If there's not, please let me know in a comment and I'll add it. So I'm using that, so things look a bit different. As you can see, the chisel stuff looks a bit different than it did. These are actually the stone bricks, so these will look different anyway than how it was because I've changed this. This was of course half slab stone bricks. These are cobble tiles, I think they are. Oh, cobble bricks. Anyway, so that's one thing I've changed. The other thing is I've moved the pack onto version 1.0.5, and the recommended, I think, is still 1.0.3. On your Feed the Beast launcher, say if this was your launcher window, up over here somewhere there's a thing that says recommended. If you click on that, it's a drop down menu and you can pick the latest version there. You don't have to move to 1.0.5, but it's got a couple of things added that I actually wanted to get into the game. One of them being the return of open blocks, because it adds a couple of really cool things that I like a lot. So I wanted to add them. So I just want to show you this up here. I moved things around a bit. I've moved all this around, given it a little bit of a better layout. I've done a little bit of research actually. There's a couple of things I want to make, but I haven't got one of the items for it yet. So what I've researched, just to let you know, is I have researched Arcane Levitator and the Ethereal Platform. I need a Silverwood tree for that though, so I'm not going to do that just yet. And Paving Stones of Warding, I want to make some of them at some point. So I made a couple of little things. I've researched a couple of bits, but I've not actually made anything. These bookcases all look different because I've used my chisel on them. Chisel you can actually use on bookcases. So just like you would normally, put your bookcase in there, and there's normal, then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 different designs, I think. There's one that I don't like, that's got cobwebs and stuff in it. That don't look as good, I don't think, but there's Necromancer, Novice Necromancer and Necromancer. They're a little bit different. They've both got a skull in them, as you can see. Redbound Tomes, Historians, I think that's Historians. Plain volumes, colourful volumes. So there's loads of different ones, and I just like it, makes it look a bit more natural. So that's why they look all different. Anyway, that's all we're going to do in here just for now. What I want to get on with is Rotarycraft. Ouch. I missed my water thing there. The Arcane Levitator is going to go there, by the way, and they're going to send us up to the top. So I'll be able to get rid of the stairs when we've made them. So I've changed outside a bit as well. I made them stone fences, cobble fences rather than bricks. Anyway, I built a little factory. Again, this is all just using cobble, stone bricks and cobble bricks. That's all stone. This is the floor's cobblestone, but chiseled. These are stone bricks, all chiseled. And we've got a nice little factory area. Now, what I'm going to get on with, if we look in the book, is Rotarycraft Triple O. So this is something that not many people have done yet, and a few people asked for it after the last video. I want to try and get into the Twilight Forest in this episode, but this might take us a while. What we're trying to do is get 3 Manilian and Cobalt ingots for each ore instead of 2, so it's a good thing to get on with. Now this is quite complex, but I'm going to start off as easy as I can. The first thing I want to do is I actually want to make something from Railcraft to start with, and I need a couple of books that I forgot to grab, so I thought I had everything. As you can see, this looks a little bit different with the different bricks as well. But these are this is the stone bricks that was the same as it was last time, cobble bricks, so that you can see what they looked like before on a previous video. So what I'm going to make first, a couple of these things. These are from forestry. These are called work tables. These are going to be really useful for us because there's a lot of little fiddly recipes in Rotarycraft. And the other thing we're going to make is we need another thing called a work table. It's actually from Rotarycraft that I believe is like this. Is it? There we go. So that's called a work table as well. That's an actual Rotarycraft one. Now we can actually only make machines in that. The other thing I have made to get me started is this guy. It's a Rotarycraft handbook. You make that just with paper, iron, and 2 bits of redstone. And I'm going to quickly sleep, and then we'll place these down and we'll get on making some bits. So what I'm going to try and do here is I'm going to keep stuff as much Rotarycraft as possible. Now normally, for example, one of the things we're going to make uses water. I would normally use an aqueous accumulator from thermal expansion for the water, but because I'm teaching Rotarycraft here. I'm not actually going to use a Rotarycraft variant of it. So I'm going to make the Rotarycraft pump rather than using an aqueous accumulator. Things like that. I am going to use a little bit of thermal expansion for getting items in and out of a certain machine we're going to make. So I'm going to put these down here. This is a special work table that you've got to make all your Rotarycraft placeable blocks in, like engines, grinder, stuff like that. These things, what we can do with these is we can create a pattern in here and it'll store it. So if we come back to want to make more, we can just come back to this. So let's start with at Rotarycraft. And the first thing we're going to want is, now the actual thing that triples our rows is called a grinder. So that's the first thing we want. So you can see there, you need to make that in a work table, but we need to make these components first. So what I'm going to do is go into there. I'm going to go into that, and I'm going to press R on there and question mark, and it's going to put the pattern in there for me, so I can mix one of them base panels if I put some steel in there. So now I've got them. That's in there now. So if I right click that, that's going to lock it in. If I don't right click it, it'll stay in. Even if I break this, all the things drop out. I'll put that down again. That pattern's still in there, so if I want to make more of these, I can just bang some steel in and I can make some more. Just like that, easy. So they'll stay in there. This will store up to 8 things. The padlock keeps them in. If I didn't have the padlock on and I made 9 different things, the 9th one would overwrite that one, yeah? So that's why I made 2 work tables, because I want to keep all these patterns in here. So that was the first thing that we needed. So let's populate this with the rest of the things we need. We're going to need a HSLA steel gear. Press the wrong button then, so D. And then press R on that. Go into the table, silly me. Go into there. Press R on that. Now we've got a question mark. Shift click the question mark and it lets us make some of them. So we'll have them in there. We'll keep that recipe as well. And then next we want some of these saws. So they use gears surrounded by ingots. So we'll have to use gears for them. We'll keep saws in there as well. So 2 of them. So now we should be able to make all the bits we need. So we need 3 ingots, 2 saws, a gear and 3 base panels. So we've got all them. And we've got some ingots there. So now we can go to the work table, and we've got to lay these in manually as far as I can tell. But saw blade, steel gear, and there we go. We have made our grinder. So that's our first thing we want to make. And I'm just going to place that there for now. Now, you see it's got a little green box behind it. That's its input. If we look inside this, it's got a thing for lubricant, because you can make lubricant, and you make lubricant out of the canola plants that was planted over there before. I've actually removed them now, but that's how you make lubricant. Some things need that, gearboxes and stuff like that need that, so we're going to have to be making some of that at some point. We're actually going to have to make a thing just to make some lubricant, because one of the things we're going to make needs it. The other thing it can do is you can put things in here and it'll grind them, and that's how we get our triple O's are going to come out of here. They'll still need smelting, but they're going to come out of here as flakes. You can see this needs power. It's got a power requirement, a speed requirement, a torque requirement. So that's so many kilowatts, so many rads per second at a torque of so much. And you can actually see what that is here. Look, you can see that it needs 4 kilowatts, 4096 watts, 121 newton meters of torque, and the actual rotational speed looks like it doesn't seem to matter. But the power input is the back, and that back was what we saw there, was the green thing. Now we're going to need another couple of items here. We are going to need what do we need here? We need, oh, turn that back on. We're going to want a screwdriver, one of these guys, an ingot, a stick, and a plank. Now I'm going to go grab that really quick. We could also use one of these, but I've only got 1 ender pearl at the minute, and I'm going to need it, so can't make one of them just yet, but they're very useful as well. I might actually have to go and get another ender pearl. Now I've killed a couple of endermen, but I've only got 1 ender pearl up to now. So bit of wood, stick. We've got any sticks? Yeah. Oops, got a stick or a stick, and one of our steel ingots gets us a screwdriver. What we can do with that guy is we can turn things around. So we can do this is, if we click that, you'll see it's now facing that way, and so on. We can turn things around with that, which we're going to need in a bit. So now we need to find a way of getting power into this, and the way we're going to put power into it, we're going to use a thing called a steam engine. So let me find the engines. They are, I think, here, steam engine. So let's make one of them. So that needs a couple of different things here, look. So let's go about making these in here. So there's our steam engine. Let's go through there. That's normal cobble. Condenser needs some of these things. So we haven't got these things yet, so we need to make them first. So we actually need to make them in the work table. So we need some glass to go over our steel. So this is what's going to take a lot of time in this video, I think. I've not actually got anything ready for this, so I might have to cut and make some glass if I've got. I've got a bit. Cool. So that's good. So we can't actually store this as a pattern, but we shouldn't need many of these, so this might be actually alright. So in here, there, oops, there, and I missed one. So there we go. That gets us some liquid pipes, and then put them in there. We've got a condenser. There we go. I'm not going to store that one because we probably aren't going to need many of these. So we can clear all that stuff out. And then next was an impeller. That needs a steel gear. So steel gears, we can just make some more like that. There's that bit done. And then impeller. Shift right click again. We've now got an impeller in there, and I'm going to put a padlock on that because they're going quite a few things. Press U on that, will it show me what it goes into? Steam engine, steam engine. So it only goes into steam engines. You can use copper or gold. That's interesting. I'll make sure I use the copper there. So what else have we got? Shaft unit we haven't got either. So shaft unit is just 3. We're going to probably want a few of these. So we'll have that in there as well. And we'll lock that. Let me quickly grab a copper ingot. It'd be nice if I was moving quicker for this, really, wouldn't it? Copper ingot. We're going to use a bit of copper and a bit of gold in this as well, so I might have to cut at some point and do a little bit of processing if I run out of stuff. So that went there. We wanted that. With that. Oh, I forgot to get some cobble. I wanted 2 of them. So 2 of them. 1 of them. 1 of them. 1 of them. Grab some cobble. So it'd be pretty useful to have all my gear next to me, but early doors still yet, innit? So all my gear spread out a bit. 1, 2, 3. So this is our steam engine. Now we're not ready to run this yet, but there we go. We made a steam engine. Now what the steam engine can do is, if we put this down, the red is the power output. So if you remember with this, the green was the power input. If that was next to that, that'd put power into there. But if you remember this, if you look on the info here, you can look on this is the same as the book, the info, by the way. You see it's 128 Newton meters of torque, 4096 watts. If we look in this, we'll see that this only puts out 32 Newton meters of torque. That needs 128, so we need to increase the torque. So we're going to need some kind of gearbox in here that changes those rads into torque. So they're interchangeable. So if we doubled the torque to 64, the rads would half to 256. If we quadrupled that to 128, the rads would become a quarter at 128 as well. So we need to make this into 128, and then that can run that. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to make a thing called a CVT if I've got the materials for it, because gearboxes need constant lubrication and the wear out and stuff. So I don't actually like the gearboxes too much. The gearboxes, they're alright. These are the gearboxes. So if we was going to make a gearbox, we'd need one of these ones, a 4-to-1 gearbox. And you see they've got a damage figure on there. You make them with a mount and some gear units. They're pretty straightforward. There's your mount, so on. I'm going to try and make a CVT, but first we need to power this guy. And if you look at this, it needs water and it needs heat. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to give it heat. Now I'm probably going to make this over there. In fact, let's set up a little water source for it first. Now for the water, we're going to use a thing called a pump. Now this is what I usually use thermal expansion for, but because I'm kind of showcasing this mod, for this I'm going to actually use a pump that is provided by this mod. If I can find the damn thing. So many things that look slightly similar. It's a kind of flat square box. Give me a sec while I find it. Okay, then I'm back and I need to sort them fans out because that's an issue, isn't it? So I found pump and it is there. There we go. So for a pump, let's make some bits. Let's get back in my Get out my way, Vans. Get back in my table. I'm going to need a bit of glass. I've got some liquid pipe still. I need some more base panels. I need another impeller. So there's an impeller. Let's make one of them. I had that good. I need more base panels. There's that. So now this is a work table recipe again. 2 base panels, 3 liquid pipes, an impeller, and a bit of glass. There's my bit of glass. There's my impeller. There's my 2 base panels. There's my 3 liquid pipes. So we can make the pump. Excellent. See if we can remember where everything went. Was it like that? And it was. Cool. Now we're going to need power for this as well though. If we put this down, you'll see that it can accept power from 2 sides. We can't see a look in there, but it does require power. So what we're going to make now is the next little engine. This is the most basic engine. And we're actually going to have to use this engine first because, as I said, we're going to need lubricant. And lubricant's made in this, and we need lubricant to gear this upright. So what we need to make now is what's called a DC engine. This is equivalent to the redstone engine. So we make a DC engine. We need a shaft, 2 base panels, some some what do you call it, ingots, and some redstone. So we should have 2 base panels. I've got a shaft still, so we can make that as well. Wonderful. There, and there. Gets us a little DC electric engine. And tell you what I forgot to get a lever. Damn it. So if we put that there, then that would put power into that. But this of course needs a water source, so we need to make a water source. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a little water source over there. I'm going to move this over there. I'm going to show you how the pump works, and I'll get a lever for it. Back in a sec. Here we are then, back again. I've placed my little DC electric engine. There's my pump. I put my pump on top of a water source. I'm going to turn it on. And what you see is the DC engine turns the pump, and the pump, I've got a little liquid pipe here. I need a gap in between here and here because I'm going to show you why in a minute. But that is putting water into the steam engine, which is what we need. Now, if you check this out, you've got to make sure that your water source is a square. If you had a 3 long, then the middle one is a source block. But if you look at this, it randomly takes each block. So it doesn't randomly actually, it's a pattern in it. So it's taking each block in turn. So you need to have it like that, otherwise if you have it just as a normal, as you might normally do with 3 water source blocks in a row, then it's going to take your water blocks away. So you need to do it that way. So there we go. So we now got to the point where we've got water in our steam engine. Now our steam engine also needs heat. Now later on there's a block called a heater that we can supply power to, but of course we haven't really got any power yet, and it actually takes more power than this, so it needs a steam engine to run it itself. What we can do is, if we come under here, if I break that block there, and if I go to my magic bag here and grab a bit of netherrack and a flint and steel, old school, we can put a block of netherrack there and we can set fire to it, and that is a heat source, and you should see this starting to go up. Now it's not going to tell us what the temperature's at. It needs to be running at 100 degrees. It overheats at 150. That's going to be fine. So what we've got here. Now I think biomes affect this a bit as well. So this should get us to 100 degrees. Now actually what we do want to make, we do need to make, if I'm being honest, I need to use my 1 ender pearl. Now I was waiting for more ender pearls really, but what we've got is this stuff called mimicry, and once we've got a look on our pick we're going to make, we get more than 2 of them from each block, so I've been saving them up to now. But with 2 of these, what you can do is you can combine them with an ender pearl, and if you do it in the right way. Oh, maybe you don't. Oh, it's one of them. Ah, actually, I'm good here then actually. I thought it was 2 of them I needed, it's just 1. So 1 of them I can make 16 of this ender pearl dust, and for 9 of them I can make an ender pearl. So for 2 of them, there's more. So I'm gradually making more and more ender pearls for myself. So there we go. I've actually just doubled up my ender pearls. So I've got 2 and I've got 5 of them left over. So mimicry is going to be very useful for making more things, but at the minute we haven't got many. What I need to do with this now, I'm going to use one of these ender pearls, and I'm going to put 5 bits of wood around it and a stick underneath it. What that's going to get us is this thing called an angular transducer, which is what we need as well. So what this does is, your screwdriver turns things around and stuff. All this does is this gives you information about stuff. So if we're looking at our bits now, we shall see that our steam engine's actually started up because look at that, it's running at 135 degrees. It's outputting 512 rads a second. It's putting out 16 kilowatts. It's running at 135 and it'll settle out at 135. It won't get any higher. These things also show you which way the power input and output's going. It tells you what things are outputting. So that's putting out 1024, 256 rads. It doesn't actually tell us the torque, but that's not going to get higher. So that's going to sit at 135. If that got over 150, it could blow up. That fire block will take it to 135. At 100, it'll make the water into steam. So if we look in there again now, you'll see that it's quite high, but it's safe. So that's providing power. Now, unfortunately, the next thing we're going to make, CVT, needs lubricant. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to turn this round a minute. I'll turn it off, and that's going to start using its water up. Oops. That's going to start using its water up. I don't think I can turn that off actually, but we won't have to do. We'll just leave this on once we're done. I'm going to make another little thing here called a coil, which is going to start storing some energy for us. Industrial coil. For that we need a mount, shaft, tension coil and a brake disc. We've not made some of these bits yet, so let's get on making that. Industrial coil, what this can do is store energy. So we want one of them, which I need more of them first. Okay, so let's have 3 more of them. Try that again with the mount. So we'll have a mount, we'll keep that pattern as well. It's going to be useful for us. We want a tension coil that uses these things, wind springs. So we need to be able to make them. We need 8 of them. Do they not stack? Oh, I'm missing. No? They don't stack once you put them in there. That's weird. Why did they stack then? So that gets us shaft bearing, gear, shaft units. That gets us tension coil. Should be able to make that now. Tension coil, cool. We'll have that. And then we need brake disc, which is a gear, a double gear. So we need to see more shafts, more gears. So let's go with a double gear then. No, we need more shafts out we yet. So shafts first. I'll have 2 lots of shafts. Looks like we need a few. So double gear. We need more gears first as well. I'm an idiot. More gears. More steel. So you see, you go through your steel pretty quick making all this stuff. Right, try that again. There we go. Double shaft. Now I'll keep that. Probably be making more of them. And what else was it? Shaft bearing is the only thing we need to know how to make. And this thing takes these ball bearings. Now ball bearings are just 2 steel next to each other. So I'll quickly do that in my inventory. Ball bearings, there we go. 2 steel next to each other gets you them. That'll get us some ball bearings. Now is everything ready to make? We want brake disc. Yes, cool. So brake disc, bearing, that thing, that's everything. Cool. Go into our weight table now. There, and there. And we're going to make an industrial coil. There we go. Now what we can do with this is, I wasn't actually thinking right actually. What we can do with this is we can leave that exactly where it was. We can actually put this here. And what this does is this is actually starting to store energy from that. So if we look with our angular transducer, you'll see that this, the energy is going up on it. See, look, 181, 205, 227. What we can do is, if we right click on it without that, we can go into that. We can give it an output speed and a torque, but it's not going to last for very long. So we can put that to actually 228 and 128, which is what we actually are going to want our CVT going to. And that, if we turn it on with a lever, should have made another lever, we'll actually run this for a short period of time. So what I'm going to do is, you could actually just stop at this and run it like this, to be honest. If you're out and about, you could just keep, this is fully self-serving now, this is going to keep itself running. That's looks like it's not taking water very quick at all, so that's good. So that would maybe last quite a long time. That's going to keep building power up. then when we need the power, we just turn it on the lever, and you'll see it's going to run the grinder. But that's going to run out of power very quick. 878, 865, 853. It's going to run us alright. So we could just stop at that, but I'm going to go one step further, because I want to just be able to let this run forever and ignore it. I maybe should just stop there, to be honest. But what I'm going to make now, what I'm going to get now, is some canola seeds. So into my little thing over here, we should have some canola seeds. There we go. And what I've done, I've made them into a big stack, because it's a bit easier. So like ingots, you can make them into a condensed stack, if you will. But I don't really need that much. So if we run back over here, I should have slept while I was there, so mobs don't come and blow up, because I've got no windows yet. So actually, yeah, we can fully stop here, and we maybe should fully stop here, to be honest. Now let's see if this even works in here, because I've not actually tested this bit. But we could just leave that going all the time, and just turn the coil on when we need it. I hear a funny noise. I think I'm safe. So what we can put in here is, first of all, let's show you what happens when we put canola in here. Turn this on. Put canola in there. Put canola in there actually. No. Put canola in there. It's going pretty slow. You see on this, it's got the required power, speed, and torque, because we're getting it out of that. But that will be going down. But if we keep that going long enough, that's going to store loads of energy in it. I may just skip the CVT completely. So that is how we get our lubricant there. So I can get up to 4 buckets of lubricant in there. I'm going to have to do that at some point. What else we can do in this is, let's see if this works. So what we should get from this cobalt ore is 3 cobalt flakes. If this all works, and we want it to. Now, I actually think I should have just gone straight with that. There we go, 3 cobalt flakes, awesome. So, do the same with the ardite. I'll be back in a minute when this is all turned into flakes, and we can cook it up into ingots, and we can make our good pick and our good rapier, and we are ready to go adventuring in the Twilight Forest. Okay then, I'm back. I've had a little think about it, and I'm actually going to make the CVT, even though I don't really need it just yet. This is storing quite a lot of power. If we look in here, I've got some bits I'm going to need. Grab all that stuff out there. If we look in here, oops, wrong thing. I can actually, I've got like 20 kilojoules, is that right? 20,000 MJ. I'm going to turn that on. I'm going to bang 16 iron in there, let that get made into 48 flakes. I put enough canola in to get a bucket's worth of lubricant, which we're going to need. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to head over here. I'm going to make a few things that are surplus at the minute, but what they're going to let us do is just leave this on all the time without having to even flick that lever. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to make another steam engine, and I'm going to fill that coil up, because that coil we can pick it up and it'll keep its charge. So I can just leave one running with that on, and I can come back to it when and as I need to. Now, a couple of things I'm going to make. I'm going to make one of these things for fun. Down here, you get 2, and this is just a bit of a visual aid. So we don't really need this. I'm just going to make it anyway. I hope making this doesn't make me run out of. Oh, looks like I had some things getting ready there for the CVT as well. That there. What else do I need? Oh, screen. And we'll make a screen like so. Screen needs circuit boards, and circuit boards, there's 2 ways of making them. There's a way with an ender pearl, which gets you 2, so you're saving on steel, gold and redstone if you're doing it that way. Or there's a way with copper, which you only use 1 of them. And I've just been down and I've had to go hunting. I've been and got some leather, because we need some leather, and I went and got a little bit more mimicry, and I actually made some more ender pearls, so I might as well use ender pearls for this. I was going to use copper, but I might as well save a bit of steel, because once we've got fortune on our pick, we'll get a lot of that mimicry, so we don't have to worry about ender pearls quite so much. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to mix some of this stuff in here if I can remember how. It's not like that at all. It's like that. No, wrong way around. It's like that, I guess. There we go. So I'm going to make 4 of these. 2, 4. I'm going to keep the pattern of them. And then, did I forget to get a bit of glass? Can't believe I forgot to get a bit of glass. Son of a... I think I need 2 of these screens as well. So I'll grab 2 bits of... 2 glass panes. 1, 2. And while we're here, we're going to get this in a minute, but I've cooked up some cobalt ingots. I've thrown one in there, and that's now a cobalt ingot in there. What I'm also going to do is I'm going to throw 2 more of them in, along with 2 ardite ingots. So we're going to end up with 3 cobalt and 2 ardite in there, so we're going to let them cook up as well. So we'll throw them in there. We'll come back to that in just a bit. Make sure no creepers go in my base. And back to this then. So we'll keep that pattern, and we're going to keep this pattern as well. So we need our bits of glass and 2 of them things. We'll make 2 of these screens. 1, 2. And now we can make these dynamiters in the work table using a shaft and all the other stuff. So we've got 2 of them. Wonderful. And then the other thing we want to make is, so we've got 4 of these shaft bearings. If you remember, we made with the ball bearings that we made with 2 steel around another bit of steel. What we're making now is the actual CVT thing. We need 1 of them circuit boards and 1 of them screens. There's a circuit board and there's a screen. We need 1 of these mounts. We also need 2 diamond shaft units. Now these are quite expensive. Let's make the diamond shaft units. We'll have to use 3 diamonds. We'll lock that in there. 1, 2, 3. Clear them other ones out. I guess it's 3 of these diamond shaft units. I've had to use 3 diamonds here. So, like I said, this is a bit pricey. I've only brought 1 diamond with me. Sure I had 3 diamonds in there. Son of a... Always forgetting stuff. So I actually went around looking for a few more diamonds as well. So I've got no fortune yet, so I'm not really happy about getting diamonds just yet. I like to do it once I've got fortune on my pick, but never mind. 3 of them. I'm going to use 2 of them on the thing there, and there's our CVT unit. And we also need 1 more thing, and that is going to take steel in the middle, get rid of them, with leather on the outside. And that's these belts that we need to put in there, and we need 3, so I'm going to make 4. I'll leave 1 in there. We need 3 belts. So what I can do now is, if we run back down here, now that's water's still full in there. Last time I checked, it's still full now. So I don't know if that just needs water primed. Surely it uses the water up, but that doesn't seem to be going down. That doesn't have any gooey, neither does that, so I can't really tell, but the water doesn't seem to be going down at all. And that's going away nicely. So what I'm going to do, I'm actually going to stop this now and see if we break that thing. That should have returned its energy, and look, it has. It's got 15 MJs in it. 15 megajoules. I don't know where I got kilojoules from a minute ago. There we go. And I am actually going to move this up 1 as well. So let's take the bits out of there. And that can go back over here now, because we don't need it for the time being. So yeah, I'm going to make another steam engine for the coil, just so I can get the coil charged off. Now, first thing I'm going to place now is 2 of these dynamometers. Now, if you watch my normal monster series, I've done this in there as well. Just keep a bit of track on things. This is purely not needed. These 2 things, these are not needed at all. I like them, so I thought I'd make 1. And in between them, I'm going to place the CVT. Now, in the CVT, I'm going to place 3 belts. Now, what we've got here is a ratio. We can either go speed or torque. Now, with no belts in, we can only have 1, so it doesn't actually change anything. With 1 belt in, we can change that to a 2. So if we try and change it to 2, you'll see that it's got 1 in brackets, that's its maximum. If we do that now, you'll see 2. So if we try to change it to 4, so it's binary, this, it goes up in 2, it doubles each time. See, it can't go to 4. We actually want it to go to 4. Because what we want this to do is, now I always forget this, the other thing we need to do is our bucket of lubricant needs to go in there. So lubricant goes in there, it doesn't actually use any up. So this is why I like this thing. Once you've got it set up, it doesn't wear down, you don't need to change anything. As you can see, we have we have changed the speed there. We have multiplied the speed by 4. So instead of 512 rads, we've got 2000 rads. So it'll be actually 2048 rads, won't it? So we've got 2 kilorads. So that's not what we actually want. If you remember, our grinder here, it doesn't need the speed increasing. It needs a torque increasing. So this needs 128 newton meters of torque. So what we've done there is we've multiplied the speed by 4, but we've divided the torque by 4. So instead of 32, we're down to 8. What we actually need is to change this to torque. And now, what it's done is it's multiplied the torque by 4, and our grinder's running. And that is a little sealed system that'll never stop. And all we need to do now is set up a little thing on this end with a couple of chests, some item ducts, and we are laughing. So let's quickly make that. So now that's all up to now. That's all Rotarycraft. What I'm going to do for the item handling, just at the end of this, did I put that iron back in there? I did. What I'm going to do for the item handling at the end of this is just do a little bit of thermal expansion. So let's come over here, and we have done our Rotarycraft 3x. Wonderful. Let's quickly look at item ducts, and they're quite cheap. 2 tin either side of a lead. Now I might not have any lead. Have I got any lead? Lead. I've got loads of lead. Wonderful. And tin, 2 tin. There we go. That gets us some lovely item ducts. Wonderful. Now what I'm also going to make here is, instead of using normal chests, I'm going to start making these chests into strong boxes. Now they're from thermal expansion also, and they're very good. Now, so what I'm going to do is, I've got some chests in here. I'm actually going to put some tin around some of these chests. So I ain't got a great deal of tin, so I'm just going to do 2 for now. And that gets these things strong boxes. Now the wonderful thing with these is, you can put stuff in them, but then when we break them, which I think I might need a crescent hammer for. Yeah, I need a crescent hammer for that. Can't pick up with that, can I? No. It's some kind of wrench, crescent hammer, iron, tin. That's easy enough, innit? Let's make one of them. 3 bits of iron and 1 bit of tin. Make us one of them. So let's make a second strong box, and then iron, tin. This is a crescent hammer. These strong boxes are really nice because we can pick them up, and they keep the stuff in them. And if you pick it up, it tells you what's in there. Look, I've got a backpack and my 36 ore flakes in. So we can pick these up and put them down. So I'm going to start using these instead of chests all the time. Now this doesn't have much inventory yet, but what we can do with it is we can increase its inventory 4 times, 3 times, by surrounding it with different materials. So the next upgrade for these is invar ingots, makes it into the hardened, and then hardened glass, which we'll get to another time, makes it into reinforced, and then endarium makes it into a resonant strong box, which has got a massive amount of inventory, and they're all pick up, you can move them around and stuff like that, so they're all really good. I've got them. I need 2 more things called servos. Now these things let you power your item ducts, so these are kind of essential, and they're just made with iron, glass and a bit of redstone. That gets us these guys, pneumatic servos, and what we can do with them, we put them on the item ducts there, and the item ducts are then self-powered, so they can eject things out of chests and stuff. So let's just sit down, lay down a minute. The video might be getting a bit long, I ain't got really much done on the list, but we've kind of got a lot done in the fact that we have done stuff that takes a bit of doing. I'll leave the other stuff in there for now, but I'll take them bits with me. So what I can do now is, over here I want 2 of these item ducts, I want 1 there, I want 1 there, and I'm going to put 1 of my strong boxes here, I'm going to put 1 here, and now if I click, sorry I've got a bit of an itchy nose, if I click on there, it says that look, pneumatic servo must be installed for control. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on there with a pneumatic servo and on there. So we've now got a servo in both of these. We can do all kind of different stuff like filters and stuff. We'll get to this later when we need it, but for now all we need to do is put that to ignored and put that one to ignored, And then we also want to make these outputs, so we hit that with a wrench, and we hit that with a wrench, and now we can throw all our ores in there, and they'll automatically get put into here, and the flakes will automatically get put into there. And we can, of course, we could just put a furnace here using our lava crystal to power it. Now, furnace is something I want to get onto in the next episode. A couple of different types of furnaces. I need to remember about them. So there we go, automated ore processing 3 times. I've not got the actual smelting part of it sorted yet, but we can certainly come back to that. Now let's quickly make our new weapons then. So our iron ore flakes can go in there. That's what I meant with a lava crystal. There is other furnaces I want to look at that a couple of people have told me to have a look at as well. I'll have to actually look at that. Slab furnaces, that might be it. Look at that, that's little, isn't it? Sweet. That's awesome. Slab furnace, like the little slab things. I might have to make them. Anyway, I digress. Let's take that over there. And I want my pickaxe head pattern. That's going to go in there. What we should have in here at the bottom. Oh, we've got manillion at the bottom. We've got 2 ingots. Oh, I bet too many. We actually didn't need 4 and 4. We just needed 1 and 1. So actually, manillion. I want my sword blade in there, and let's turn that on. I want a sword blade made out of manillion. Now, actually, I want made too much. I want an ingot made out of manillion to get that out of the way. And that should leave us in there our cobalt, yet. So now we want a pickaxe head of cobalt. Now the reason why I'm going with cobalt and not manillion for the pickaxe head is they both mount at the same speed, at the same level, but what a cobalt pickaxe is a little bit quicker. It's not, don't make a massive difference. Got a manillion ingot there, look. Don't make a massive difference, but it's a little bit quicker, so if you really want it as fast as possible pick, then you're going to want manillion on there. And what we've got in here is the other bits we need. We made some thalmium last time, if you remember. Thalmium, 1 thalmium ingot will make us 2 tool rods, so I've got our tool rod pattern there. Let's put them away. Our tool rod pattern there, so we're going to have 1, and then this thalmium shard can go back in there and make us another one. So we've got 2 tool rods, wonderful. And then, in a similar vein, 1 piece of paper. No, 1 piece of paper gets us 1 paper binding. So we want 1 paper binding, and we want 1 crossbar. So there we go. There's all our bits for our top of the range thalmic tinkerer weapons, tier 1 weapons. There is high level weapons that we can't make yet, but like the hammer and stuff. But there we go. Pickaxe. Let's go cobalt head, paper binding. So paper binding adds an extra modifier, and thalmic rod adds another modifier. So instead of the 3 standard modifiers, it gets 4, 5. So we get 5 modifiers on this, which is really nice. I'm going to call that what I normally call my pick. I am pick. And then in a similar vein, we are going to make a better rapier, manillion, thalmium rod. So we use manillion in this case because it's the highest damage. I'm going to call this I am stab. Original, as always. Always use, oops. I am, that's 2 spaces or 1. I am stab. There we go. So you see that's by default. That's got 2 hearts with 5 modifiers. Our iron one we made, we used a modifier in the moss. So that's got 3 less. That's only got 1.5 hearts. Remember we used a paper binding, so that's why that would have started with 4. So now we need some moss on these 2, so the self-repair. So let's grab some smooth stone and make that into moss. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Grab our chisel. Oops. Turn them into mossy stone bricks. And if you remember, we turn them into balls of moss. We've got 2 of them. And we want 1 on the pick. And we want 1 on our sword. Excellent. So there we go. We've got self-repair and self-repair on them. So now what we want is a load of lapis onto this, and lapis onto this. We need 50 blocks of lapis. So I'm going to quickly check the video length, see if we've got enough time to actually make a Twilight Forest portal. And I'll be back in a minute. We've made a Manilian rapier. We've made a cobalt-headed Thalmium pick. Wonderful. So we're up to there now. We're back in a bit. Okay then, back for the last time in this video. The video is 45 minutes already, so we're going to have to do the Twilight Forest in the next episode. But that'll be the start of the next episode. We're going to go, we'll make a magic map, find a large hollow hill and start getting lapis. And then once we've got lapis on both of these, we'll start getting redstone. We'll start looking for some kind of quartz for this. Now, pigmen will aggro us with quartz, so we'll have to be careful with that. But there we go, that's what we're going to do. I'm not going to stick forever with this, by the way. This I probably am going to, because it is really good. I will probably move to something else later on. This I'm going to be moving to a redstone arsenal sword pretty soon, but not quite yet. What I've done here is I've put a furnace here, and basically what you can do with these things, just so you know really quick, is if you wrench, you get like an invisible box there, you see it? So that, if you hit it the third time, it'll stop connecting to stuff. So I've got the things coming out of there, going straight into the furnace, using the lava crystal, so I need to keep an eye on the amount of life points I'm using. So that's I've got to be careful with that, to make sure that I'm keeping enough. That's still got 5,000 in, so that's all good. And for the furnace, you've got to pull out the bottom to get things out. So I've got item ducts under the bottom of here. Again, so I have to make a third servo, put that in there, and that's just putting the items into here. So most of them are flakes at the minute, but I will change that back. I'll put them back in, should I say, once this tin's cleared, and I'll turn it all into ingots. So there we go. We'll wrap up the episode there. Thank you very much for watching. I hope this was pretty straightforward. We've got a nice little system there that'll never stop. It looks like, honestly, to me, it looks like once you've got water in there, you never need to put it in again. But who knows? Who knows? Right. Any questions, please ask. I'm going to set up another steam engine for the coil, as I said. We've got a pretty nice little system there. The next step is to go to the 5+ times smelting, which is called an extractor, which we're not actually that far off. We can make a gasoline engine, and we only actually need one. And if you watch my Monster series, I made 4. We don't actually need 4, we only need 1, because the CVT can multiply torque as well, like we're doing here. So I might get on with that pretty soon, but this will do us for now. 3 times will do us for now. Maybe 3 or 4 episodes time we might take this up to 5 times with an extractor. For now, I hope that was all straightforward, and you now know how to do this at least, and I hope you join me next time. Thanks for watching. Cheers. Bye.